All right, so you got 2 DHCP servers, right? That's in each force itself?
In each, yes.
In each one. Okay. And what?
Yes, that was 2 of each.
Okay, in each one. Okay, so you did a split scope
Exactly.
of it. Okay, so where were those 2 DHCP servers located with it? Let's just go with Lake Hattie. We'll figure the other ones could probably be the same. Let's say Lake Hattie, you had the domain for Lake Hattie and you had the domain for shipping, right? Where was the DHCP servers located in the Lake Hattie side, the physical servers? Which network were they in?
They were in just in the Lake Hattie network. They were not actually in like the shipping networks.
So shipping could still get an IP address from Lake Hattie, right, from their DHCP server. So what did you set up to allow shipping to get an IP address from the Lake Hattie's DHCP servers? Because they were in a different network, right? The shipping department, were they in a different network than what Lake Hattie was? Based off of your subnetting that you guys did?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so how did the shipping machines get an IP address from a DHCP server in a different network that's located in Lake Hattie? Did you set anything up or?
No, we weren't able to test that.
Yeah.
You weren't able to test that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be like a relay.
A relay agent? Okay.
We weren't able to test that in our testing environment.
Okay. But you probably had it in your planning anyway, so.
Yes, it was in the plan.
Yes.
Sure it was.
Everything's in the plan.
Exactly. If in doubt, it's in the plan part. Okay, so you did a split scope, right? So you had one server having so many IP address, another server having so many IP address.
Correct.
Out of that, whatever range you're doing in there. What was your decision on determining how many IP address should be on one machine versus the other?
Well, basically, since the 2 servers in each domain actually existed in the same network, we went ahead and just split it 50-50.
Okay. And how did you keep, like, were they both running at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. So what would happen, would there be an issue for the clients as to which DHCP server they get the IP address from, or did you not care?
To be honest with you, we didn't test that, so I don't think
Well,
we cared.
we didn't care. We had exclusions on each DHCP server, so they wouldn't be handing out the same IP addresses to them.
Okay, so you had exclusion on there,
Right.
for there. So now, if you had, let's say, 50.
Split, we had the scope set up, the full scope set on each one, but then we had half of the scope actually excluded for exclusion on each side. So, they couldn't hand out each other's. And also we had the exclusion set up for the printers and for the servers as well. So none of those IP addresses would go away and be sent off to anybody else, as they were going to be static anyway for the servers and printers.
Okay. So you had those that's excluded out. What happens if I move that printer to another network? Like, let's say that printer used to be in Lake Hattie's network, and now I got to move that printer to the shipping network.
Well,
what could you?
I mean, we would have to, since we actually apply static addresses to all the printers, I mean, we would have to either take one of the static addresses that we already have that we had for expansion and apply it to that, or I suppose we could use the same address, but we'd have to actually map it to where it would actually get there.
Route the stuff.
Exactly, route it.
Okay, so could you have used a reservation versus an exclusion and still have the printers be able to get an IP address from a DHCP server versus having to go add that stuff into the into the printers themselves?
We could have. We didn't do that. We just set the IP static on the machines themselves.
Okay. Okay. What happens if both those DHCP servers go down?
We're in trouble.
Because one of the redundancy, if everything dies, everything dies.
So they couldn't go over to Elk Island and get an IP address from them?
I don't think we had set. Not as we got it set up.
Is shipping domain and the Lake Hattie domain all in the same general
Physical location, yes.
They're in the same physical location off of there? Okay. All right. Then you guys had how many subnets did you end up coming up with?
We have 64 available.
Okay.
That 1,024 hosts. 1,024.
How'd you guys come up with that?
Based on the amount of subnets we knew we were going to use and the amount of offices or retail branches that we have
Yeah,
available.
it was overkill, but we were thinking future expansion on retail stores, stuff like that. So it was probably overkill, but we would rather be safe than sorry. So
So you're in a business of growing, not a business of dying out.
Exactly.
We're expanding, like I said.
Okay. All right. Who did the subnetting? Did you? Why'd you choose the 192 addressing?
I think the main reason I chose that was based on the amount of subnets that we felt we'd want to utilize for further expansion, the amount of hosts we want to have available per subnet for all the growth. That seemed to give us the right amount of room available to do that.
Okay. And you guys had you had some non-win stuff that you had to deal with?
Correct.
Because you had non-wins clients that need to
And shipping.
resolve
NetBiles
NetBiles names of wins clients. So you set up what?
Wins proxy.
Wins proxy. So your wins clients, do they never have to go and resolve the non-wins clients? So like a 2000 box or an XP box, never had to resolve like a Unix box.
I don't know that we ever looked that deep into it. We were dealing mainly with the non-wins clients, resolving, getting them fixed.
Okay.
So,
All right. Where'd you turn on the wins proxy?
I knew he was gonna ask me.
Where, you asking where?
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it on the DC3, on the third domain
Yeah,
controller.
but,
That was the win server, right?
Wins server.
Oh, the win server?
Yeah, the wins proxy,
Which win?
How did
What
you
could
turn
be-
it on?
How did you
it
turn
could
it
be
on?
turned
How did you turn it on?
How'd you make a machine a wins proxy?
We edited the registry and just turned
Yeah,
0
zero
to
registry key,
1.
turn it 0 to the 1, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know, I didn't need the pad, just.
Yeah,
I quit.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
good.
Wouldn't know it anyways.
That's all right, I don't know it either.
They highly recommend you don't do the reg edit key, but we did it anyway and it worked, so.
You're gonna have to sometime.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, in the case of the non-win, the wins clients resolving the non-wins client, you may want to look at the static mapping
Okay,
of those guys.
Okay.
That way you add it into the win server for them,
okay.
on behalf of them. Okay.
Which they actually set up.
Did they?
That's how they tested it.
Okay.
We did.
You delegated controls to administrators and managers and so forth?
Right.
Itself? What's the process that you went through to delegate that control? Was that for the folders, the files, or just for the management of Active Directory objects?
Yeah, well, we went to Active Directory, users of computers, and then went to each OU and delegated control to the managers specifically.
Like in shipping, the managers need to be able to modify the users, their users in Active Directory. So we delegated the modify to each manager
Just modify, because they
for
couldn't
their
add
users
or-
in their specific.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to add or delete users, just
Correct.
modify them.
Okay, did you go through by way of the wizard to do that? Like right-click on the OU
Yes, yes,
and
yes,
click
yes,
on
yes,
delegate
yes,
control?
yes.
Did you go and check to see if there's any other added permissions that were given that? the
We went
wizard-
through the custom,
The read, write, and then the. I forget
read,
the
write,
two-
and then
the
read
two
all
at-
properties.
Read and write all properties at the bottom of the
Yeah, right.
checklist.
Okay. The other thing you may want to do in the future is also look at the properties of that OU, and look at the security tab in there to make sure that the wizard didn't give you more capabilities than what you thought was going on in there. That way you can more granularly select what you want, what you don't want.
Yeah, they actually looked at the advanced
View
security properties.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.